Hello my friends, this is Linol Anderson here with you guys with a brand new YouTube BitChute video, and in today's video we're going to be taking a look at what's going on in the world right now, especially when it comes to the whole holy war situation we got going on. We're going to be taking a good look at what's going on in the United Kingdom. We got massive chaos happening there, and then we're going to be taking a good look at what we could expect in the United States of America going into 2025, and we're going to be seeing what old Donald Trump and what his presidency will look like when he gets back in office, because he will be back in office. It's part of the plan, and we'll see how this all lines up with the NWO agendas laying out. We're going to be looking at Project 2025, and this is going to be a doozy, okay? So let's just get right into it. Just encourage you guys, if you enjoyed today's video, please hit that subscribe button. As I say, subscribe to survive. Smash the like button. Helps old Lionel out with the algorithms. And now, yeah, I guess we should just get into things, alright? So what it comes down to, I wanted to speak about what's going on in the UK first, okay? Because what you guys got to realize is there's a manufactured holy war being created right now. And it's all been prophesied. It's all been set out. Of course, it's self-fulfilling prophecies. It's the powers that be. It's time for the Great Reset. That's what it comes down to. It's time for what I call the Great Matrix Reset. And to collapse civilization, you know, they turn all the religions against each other. And it creates that mass chaos. And this is all leading up to an event that will collapse all the world religions to form a new one world religion, part of the NWO agenda. And to do this, they got to have people fighting with each other. And this is why we've seen the mass migration of people from different countries into Western European countries, where the religion, mainly Christianity, right? So now we see in European countries, Muslim populations who've come in. Well, this wasn't by coincidence. This is all by plan, because they want to mix the cultures, and when a right crisis happens, they know they could easily get them to go against each other. And I want to make this very clear. This crisis that happens is usually an inside job by the NWO powers that be. I think people, despite differences in religion, for the most part, we're all human. We just want to get along, and each to their own. But usually the government or the powers that be stick their noses in the situation, and they create a lot of the chaos. And then once the emotions are stirred, the people follow along, because, you know, the government poked the bear. So let's take a look and see what's going on inside the United Kingdom right now. Take a look.
Tonight, Britain grappling with an eruption of far-right violence. Nearly 150 people arrested this weekend as violent anti-immigration rallies hit multiple cities for the third day in a row. Far-right groups exploiting the horrific stabbing attack at a dance class last Monday that killed 3 children. In the northern city of Rotherham today, a mob attacking this hotel that was housing asylum seekers, trying to set it on fire. Police saying at least 10 officers injured. Since Wednesday, mobs of young men have rampaged in most major northern cities, including Liverpool, Manchester, Leeds, breaking into shops, some targeting mosques. Nazis go off our streets! Though anti-racism counter-protesters often outnumbering them. The violence following far-right activists spreading false claims on social media that the suspect in that dance class stabbing attack was a Muslim illegal immigrant. In reality, the 17-year-old suspect was born and raised in Britain and is the son of Rwandan immigrants. Britain's Prime Minister Keir Starmer tonight promising those involved in the violence will face the full force of the law.
This is not protest. It is organised, violent thuggery, and it has no place on our streets or online.
There you have it, my friends. That's just a little bit of the chaos that's been unfolding. And as you could see, you know, a tragic thing. 3 children, you know, and much more injured. Now, was this a complete inside job? Did it actually happen? Was it government operatives? Who knows how deep it went? But you could see he even said there that it wasn't even a Muslim who did that. It was mistaken for that, but still caused the chaos and the controversy. And we got white Christian folks going to mosques protesting like that. And, we also got intimidating images on the streets of the Muslim communities as well in the UK. Take a look.
Clearly, this shows lots of people don't vote in the UK. So this is the condition of UK nowadays. And I'm surprised where exactly is the police over here? Or is it an example of one-tier police system or two-tier police system? Isn't this kind of gathering will create doubt in the mind of native inhabitants? Let me know what you think about it.
There you go, my friends. I know the audio was kind of crappy on that video, but still, it was just to show you we have both sides here. Heck, I've even seen videos in the past couple weeks of people in the streets, white people with Islam people with machetes fighting with each other. And this is not good. I'm not advocating for violence. This is exactly what the powers that be want. It's called divide and conquer. It's been an ancient tactic, and people are just falling right into it. This is exactly what they wanted. And my friends, this is the second seal of Revelations that I've been telling you about. 2024, we're in the second seal. Okay? This is exactly what they wanted. So it's very troubling to see, but it's the agenda, and yeah, it's happening in the UK now. And of course, they're already passing draconian laws and stuff. People are getting arrested just for posting memes online. Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous. It's all part of the plan to seize control, right? All part of the plan, digital IDs, all that, policing the internet. This is exactly what they wanted. And guess what? It's coming to old America. There's something that's been really troubling me the past year or so, maybe 2 years now, and that is the push by the mainstream alternative media and the controlled oppositions who people think are on our side and fighting for us and exposing the elites and this and that, but they're all hopping on the Christianity bandwagon. I've made videos about this before, but they're all of a sudden promoting Christianity now. And that's people like Russell Brand, right? Russell Brand, this former Hollywood celebrity who was never Christian before, now all of a sudden becomes a Catholic. That's the theme. They're all becoming Catholic. Not any kind of Christianity, but Catholic, which we know is the most satanic form of Christianity. But yeah, he's a Christian now, got baptized, he's holding his cross all the time. What's up with that? You got Candace Owens, becomes Catholic, right? A lot of figures on who claim to be truthers, even people like Elon Musk talking good about Jesus, Joe Rogan, when they were never like that before. All of a sudden, there's a great push, especially targeting obviously the European nations, to return to Jesus. And I know the Christians will be like, oh, it's God, but no. There's a sinister agenda behind it all. And what is a sinister agenda? Well, how are they going to have a holy war if nobody's Christian, right? See, Christianity's been on a decline in the European countries and in recent times. And if they want this big holy war to divide everybody, they got to get people back on that Christianity bandwagon. So that's why you have people who are clearly not Christians, who are obvious controlled opposition shills, coming out saying, oh, you got to turn to Jesus. And, a lot of people are. They're scared about what's going on in the world right now, so they're jumping on that bandwagon. All right? But the most troubling aspect behind this all, and I'm going to show you facts and evidence of all what I'm saying now too, my friends. Don't say, oh, Lionel's not a Christian, so he's thinking. No, just wait, okay? There's some troubling things going on with Trump. He's probably the main pusher of this agenda, and the people behind Trump, okay? And I'm going to show you facts and evidence of that now. So let's get into some clips I want to show you guys. Before we do, I just wanted to give a huge shout out to our sponsors down at OWELI. Okay, this is OWELI's sea moss, my friends. I've been on this sea moss for a couple months now, and I'm telling you, my life has changed for the better. This is an amazing supplement, sea moss, but it's also got bladderwhack and burdock in it, and black pepper, which covers all your essential minerals. Okay, my friends, I think there's 102 or 109 essential minerals. Well, with what's in this supplement, you get all the essential minerals that is needed, plus a lot of essential vitamins as well. So it's like a multi-mineral and multivitamin. It's loaded with iodine as well, which helps detox the third eye. It detoxes your entire body. And I'm telling you, this will give you energy and just make you feel like $1,000,000. And if you have something like that, there's no need to take tons of other supplements. You got your one main supplement here. Of course, this is organic, and what can I say? OWELI has the best supplements around. So I'm going to leave a link to that product down below in the description. And I also am going to leave a coupon code to get you 15% off and free shipping in the United States. So definitely look into that, my friends. Your health and your body and your mind, because it's great for the mind and mental health too. It'll all thank you very much, because we got to put our health as our #1 priority. Back to the video now. So I want to show you a little clip of something Trump said recently that is troubling to me, okay? So take a look.
And again, Christians, get out and vote just this time. You won't have to do it anymore. 4 more years, you know what? It'll be fixed, it'll be fine. You won't have to vote anymore, my beautiful Christians. I love you, Christians. I'm a Christian. I love you. Get out. You got to get out and vote. In 4 years, you don't have to vote again. We'll have it fixed so good you're not going to have to vote.
There you have it. So, of course, you see him saying, I'm a Christian. Some people say it kind of sounds like he's saying, I'm not a Christian. But apparently it's I'm a Christian, which is kind of laughable. So many people think, oh, Trump is a good Christian man now. He turned his life to Jesus. It's ridiculous that anybody could fall for thinking he's an actual Christian. Like, you got to be pretty gullible and naive. And no, I'm not trying to insult anybody, but it's obvious that every single president claims to be Christian. They tell people what you want to hear. Whether even Obama said good things about Jesus, the Bushes and all that, they're not. A lot of these people, they're Satanists, okay? So I had a funny clip to show you. This person asked Trump what his favorite Bible scripture is. Let's see what Trump says.
In the Bible, you've been talking about how it's your favorite book, and you said, I think last night in Iowa, some people are surprised that you say that. I'm wondering what 1 or 2 of your most favorite Bible verses are, and why.
I wouldn't want to get into it, because to me that's very personal. When I talk about the Bible, it's very personal, so I don't want to get into verses. I don't want to get into...
There's no verse that means a lot to you that you think about or cite?
The Bible means a lot to me, but I don't want to get into specifics.
Even to cite a verse that you like?
No, I don't want to do that.
You're an Old Testament guy or a New Testament guy?
Probably equal. I think it's just an incredible... The whole Bible is an incredible... I joke very much so. They always hold up the Art of the Deal. I say my second favorite book of all time. But I just think the Bible is just something very special.
There you have it. I thought that was funny. Had to throw it in there. It's personal. It's personal. I'm not going to get into specifics. Yeah, because he doesn't know any Bible scriptures, probably. It's like, oh, yeah, it's personal. I'm reading the Bible. I can't tell you what my favorite part is. Any other Christian would be like, John 3:16. He's like, I'm not telling you, it's personal. Anyways, back to the point here. What I found troubling about that, yes, he's catering to the Christian community, getting the Christians worked up, but what he said is that you're never going to have to vote again. Come out, vote this time, and then we have it fixed so good you won't have to ever vote again. Now, what does he mean by that? Well, my friends, a lot of people say, oh, it just means he's going to make things so there'll be no cheating and this and that, and the elections won't be rigged. When, my friends, all elections are rigged. Okay, presidents are selected, not elected. That's how it works. Okay, every single election you've ever seen's been rigged. Your vote doesn't count. All voting is giving your consent for them to kill you. It's an ancient ritual. But no, he straight up said, you're never going to have to vote again. And when he says that, I believe that. I believe this will be the last election ever. And why is that? Well, my friends, I got this book here from 1896. The Baron Trump collection from 1896. That looks like a little Baron Trump, doesn't it? Written by Ingersoll Lockwood. He was a high-ranking Freemason, and this book talks about Baron Trump. And it's very cryptic and very spooky, but he also wrote a book, as you could see on there, The Last President. Okay, yes, that's right. I'll open it up right here. The Last President, and this goes on to describe Trump, pretty much, okay? In that book, The Last President, it doesn't say Trump's name directly, but it's talking about a savior-type president who was charismatic and an outsider who lived on 5th Street in New York. So it's describing Trump, and it goes on to describe pretty much everything that's happening right now. Okay, so it's predictive programming at its finest. So the last president, they're saying Trump pretty much is going to be the last president. Then you got Trump coming out saying, you're never going to have to vote again. It's going to be fixed, right? So, how are they going to do this? Well, they got a little something that's been going on right now called Project 2025. All right. So I want to show you guys a little clip about what Project 2025 is. Take a look.
It's quickly become one of the most talked about issues of the presidential election.
The Project 2025 plan is not a game.
Project 2025 has been going pretty viral.
Reproductive
900-page blueprint.
Our nation's sovereignty.
Look into Project 2025.
But just what is Project 2025? The Verify team is here to answer some of your questions using these sources. First, some basics. Project 2025 is an extensive proposal to quickly enact dozens of conservative policy goals in the event Trump wins the 2024 election. The proposal is more than 900 pages long, addresses nearly every major issue from abortion to education, and is extremely detailed about how policies should be enacted, sometimes down to the exact wording of proposed executive orders. It was launched by a right-wing think tank called the Heritage Foundation, with support from many other conservative groups. But does it have the support of Donald Trump? Not directly. In a post on Truth Social, Trump explicitly distanced himself from the project. Quote, some of the things they're saying are absolutely ridiculous and abysmal. But the majority of the project's authors are former Trump staffers, and many of the policy goals stated in the document overlap with those in Trump's own document called Agenda 47. The Heritage Foundation has led similar projects before, releasing detailed policy proposals for Republican presidents dating back to Reagan.
There you have it, my friends. So, as you could see, if this gets passed they're gonna be putting in making a lot of changes in the government, and pretty much it's gonna turn Trump into a dictator. And you know, it's funny because a lot of people are saying, no, Trump, and they even showed that in the video. Trump has said that he's disassociated himself from it. He says he doesn't know. He even once said he knows nothing about Project 2025. And that he knows nothing about them, and he disagrees with them, and he thinks it's crazy. When before, he did support it, and pretty much all Project 2025, the people who are involved with it, not all of them, but a lot of them, were on his administration. Let's take a look at that.
So Donald Trump is trying to convince us that he knows nothing about Project 2025, and that he has no idea who's behind it. But let's be real. Yes, he does. All we have to do is take a look at the list of authors of Project 2025. And first up is John McEntee, the guy who runs the MAGA dating app and Trump's top aide and former bag boy. Ben Carson, Trump's Secretary of Housing and Urban Development. Paul Dance, Trump's Chief of Staff at the Office of Personnel Management. Russ Vought, Trump's Director of the Office of Management and Budget. Brendan Carr, Trump's appointee to be a commissioner at the Federal Communications Commission. Bernard McNamee, Trump's commissioner at the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission. Ken Cuccinelli, Trump's acting deputy secretary for the Department of Homeland Security. Christopher Miller, Trump's acting U.S. Secretary of Defense. Thomas Gilman, Trump's assistant secretary of Commerce. And Dustin Carmack, Trump's chief of staff to the Director of National Intelligence. But wait, there's more. There are countless Trump administration officials who wrote Trump's Project 2025 plan. He knows exactly who's behind it. Learn more about his agenda at trumpsproject2025.com.
There you go. So as you can see, Trump is clearly lying. Straight out lying. He knows exactly what it's about, and his Project 47 is pretty much saying all the same things. So what happened there is pretty much it got a lot of backlash, especially from the left community, and so he had to come out, tell the people what they want to hear. Oh, of course I'm not like that, but once he gets in, it's going to be that, okay? It's going to 100% be Project 2025. And why is this? Well, my friends, you got to realize Trump is just a puppet, right? And he's carrying out an agenda for the powers that be. And the powers that be are the powers behind Project 2025. And who are the powers that be behind Project 2025? It is the Heritage Foundation. That's right, the Heritage Foundation. So who is this Heritage Foundation? All right, my friends, well, let's take a little look and see what this lady in her bathrobe has to say about the Heritage Foundation.
Project 2025 did not just come up out of the woodworks. It has been around for a very long time. Let's talk about it. So back in the 1970s, the Club of Rome was established, and it was basically a bunch of dudes that got together and said, we're smarter than everybody and we think the world's overpopulated, and they wrote this book called The Limits to Growth. Now, the LTG would go on to be used by MIT to conduct a study that said we would use up all available land space and resources by 2040, but that's another video. This one is about Project 2025. Jump forward 10 years to 1980, where the Club of Rome is meeting in Washington, D.C. There's 300 of them. They're meeting so that they can discuss Ronald Reagan's presidency. Ronald Reagan was the first conservative president in 50 years. Please keep that in mind. Anyways, according to the records of this meeting, they were discussing the surplus population on the earth and what they could do about it, and how to take out America's industrial heart. Jump ahead to December of 1980, where the Club of Rome meets up in Washington, D.C. again. This time they're hearing from the Heritage Foundation. The Heritage Foundation is going to give them a list of 3,000 names for the Reagan administration to make the most conservative right-wing changes they had ever seen. Does that not sound like Project 2025? And guess who wrote Project 2025? The Heritage Foundation. Now remember, Ronald Reagan was the first conservative president in 50 plus years. He made some of the biggest changes in the United States ever. The world has not been the same since Ronald Reagan, right? The Club of Rome and the Heritage Foundation were behind Ronald Reagan. Now I want you to think back to that guy who set himself on fire outside of Donald Trump's trial. What was he saying in his manifesto? Oh, right.
That's right. These people go back, all the way back to Reagan. That's when they first came into power, and working with the Club of Rome, a huge NWO community. And, you know, they have had great power in the United States of America, okay? Great power. So much so obviously there was the Reagan administration, but then George H.W. Bush, the Papa Bush, who was an extremely evil reptilian, just horrible, horrible, horrible man, okay? Openly declared they wanted an NWO. They played a crucial part of his administration. That's right. So I took that from Wikipedia. You could read this up on the Heritage Foundation Wikipedia. It goes through every president. So, of course, there was George H.W. Bush, and then George W. Bush, Jr. Bush. There you go. The Heritage Foundation played huge roles in those two administrations, which we know those people were pure evil. Okay? And, of course, they are the far right. They're pretty much writing the doctrines. They even call it the Bush Doctrine, this and that. They write the plans for the conservative leaders, okay, for the right leaders, okay? But they also had influence over the Democrats as well. That's how powerful this think tank was. So much so that they got Bill Clinton to change some of his policies and whatnot. That's right, and they even had influence over Obama as well. There you go, my friends. So they're very powerful. They're all elite funded and elite backed, and they're pretty much the ones calling the shots. And even Trump has stated that he needs the Heritage Foundation's help. Take a look.
Your organization is named the Heritage Foundation because you understand that our glorious heritage is the foundation of everything we hope to achieve, which is why we need the help of the Heritage Foundation.
That's right. So don't let Trump tell you he doesn't know what Project 2025 is, the Heritage Foundation. He knows damn well, and he's straight up lying about that. And even further, J.D. Vance. Trump, of course, had to choose J.D. Vance as his running mate there, and J.D. Vance has very close ties to the Heritage Foundation. So much so that he's good buddies with the president of the Heritage Foundation, and he just wrote the forward to his new book. Take a look. There you go, and of course he kind of called for open violence with wagons and muskets and pretty much saying there needs to be a civil war, revolution type scenario, which is all part of the agenda, all part of the plan. It's going to be a holy war, as I was telling you guys. And of course, J.D. Vance, we all know, is a puppet of Peter Thiel. Okay, so who's Peter Thiel? Well, Peter Thiel helped J.D. Vance into power. He funded him massive, big time, and they've also worked together on many NWO companies as well. Okay, like Plantier, I believe it's called. It's all this NWO technology, AI, all that kind of stuff. Okay, and Peter Thiel is one of the main guys down there at Bilderberg. Take a look. That's right, he's on the steering committee at Bilderberg. He's also partnered with the WEF. That's right, he's one of the NWO's main guys. You could say he's kind of like the right wing's George Soros. We know George Soros is a liberal on the left side, billionaire who funds a lot of NWO movements. Well, Peter Thiel, another billionaire, except for he's funding a lot of right wing movements. So much so that he gave millions of dollars, okay? Millions of dollars to a company called Donor Trust. And it was all leaked in documents. Take a look. And Donor Trust is an anonymous, it's like an organization that takes anonymous donations from donors. It's all anonymous because they don't want you to know who's donating the money. And then they take that money and fund certain far-right organizations. But some of the donors were leaked, and it had globalists like the Koch brothers in there, but also Peter Thiel was one of them. And Peter Thiel gave millions of dollars to Donor Trust, and then shortly after, it got funneled to such organizations such as the Heritage Foundation. There you go. So, I'm just trying to prove the point. Who this Heritage Foundation is. It's a 100% NWO globalist backed organization. Okay? So now I want to take a look at some of their goals, their Project 2025 goals. That's very concerning when it comes to this whole situation we're talking about, Trump taking over, becoming kind of like a dictator, and it's going to relate to what's going on with the Holy War situation and other troubling scenarios. So let's take a look. That's right, and you know what? If I didn't leave that picture up too long, you guys could just pause it and take a look at all of it. And hey, some of the things on there look not too bad. You'll be saying, Lionel, but some of these things on here are good. And yeah, I admit some of the stuff, like cutting off funds for the climate stuff and stuff like that, yeah. Gas, oil, yeah, we need those things. But obviously they got to put a few good things in there to get people on board. But I want to talk about some of the things that did worry me. So I wrote down, first one, end no-fault divorce. That's pretty much like you're not going to be able to get divorced over no reason anymore. It's like, oh, that's restricting our freedoms, pretty much, right? People, the whole constitution of marriage is like a government agreement and a religious institution. Like, people should have the freedom to do what they want. Complete ban on abortion. Now, I'm not going to tell my thoughts or opinions on abortion or get into that whole debate. But end of the day, it doesn't matter what I think about abortion. It doesn't matter what you think about abortion. What it comes down to is we know how Americans feel, and we know how divided America is about abortion ever since Roe versus Wade. And pretty much the meaning of doing that is to create the division, the order out of chaos. If that happens, you're going to get your civil war pretty much. It's going to bubble up. So that's kind of worrisome, right? That we know already the Democrats are losing their minds over that. Ban contraceptives. Well, that's very concerning. A contraceptive, a condom could be considered a contraceptive, you know? So some people don't want to have kids, and some people should not have kids. So that is way too far. And to be honest, it's all tying into this Christian agenda to pretty much bring in. This is what's happening. They're bringing in a Christian Reich that's going to be so severe and so zealot based that it's going to be like the old days. And the old days were not good. They used to torture people who weren't Christians to death. Okay, you're not going to like it. Even the hardest Christians around, it's going to be too much for them. It's going to be extreme, just like the old days. So we all see it leading up to that, because on Project 2025, we see they want to start teaching Christian religious beliefs in the schools. Okay, that is very troublesome for me. Like, yeah, if your kid is a Christian and wants that, and they could sign up to a Christian school, that's okay. But if you're going to start mandating it for everyone, well, some people do not want their kids being programmed by the government with Christianity, specifically Catholic Christianity, which we know that's what they're going to be shooting for. Okay, and what about people of different faiths? They don't want it either, but no, they want to make that a mandated thing, so much so, if you refuse to take classes like that, you'll be kicked out of school. I've seen stuff speaking about that. You won't be able to get jobs. Like, they're going to force this Christianity on you. For me, that's very worrisome. Like I said, we're heading down a road towards how things were in the Dark Ages, and this is not good, but they need this for the Holy War. Okay, let's continue on. Ban books about slavery, you see, was on there. Well, do you know who else started banning books? Back in Germany, back in, the 30s, whatever, 40s, guy with a funny mustache there. He started banning books, and it's just not him. If you look throughout history, we've had book burnings all throughout history. The Library of Alexandria, very concerning when they want to start banning books. And why about slavery? You think it'd be good to have books on slavery because it's education of how tyranny has happened in the past. So only reason why you'd want to ban books about slavery is if you wanted to make people slaves again, didn't want them to know their histories. So that's very, very concerning to me, to say the least. Let's keep going down. This one very, very much so worries me. Promote and expedite capital punishment, okay? Stuff such as the death penalty. One thing I've noticed about Trump over the past few years, he spoke a lot about wanting to make the death penalty a big part of, like, making a big return. I know certain states allow it and whatnot, but he's talking about using this much more frequently. I even got some screenshots to show you. There you go, and I know what you guys are saying. Yeah, well, if somebody's doing horrible things, they deserve to die and everything. I don't see things that way. Even if people have done things horrible, two wrongs don't make a right. And I think people should be locked up the rest of their lives and thrown in prison. But I don't agree necessarily with murder like that. And I know different people have different opinions, and that's fine. But what scares me is if we're going to start making capital punishment uh, and death penalty regular thing. What worries me is, like I said, we're going back to the old ways where, witches were burned at the stake, and oftentimes they weren't even witches. They were just people who spoke against the Catholic Church. Anybody who blasphemed against the Catholic Church, anybody who did anything the government didn't want them to do, were tortured to death in the most barbaric ways. And like I've said before, history repeats itself, okay? If you look throughout history, it always repeats itself. I'm worried history is starting to repeat itself again. And yeah, this might not happen in 2025, but as the years go on, things might get this bad. So it's kind of worrisome to see the Heritage Foundation in their book here that they publish talking about making this a normal thing. You know what I mean? So I'm just worried history is repeating itself. Another one that bothered me was use military to break up protests. Okay, well, using military to break up protests, that's not good at all. People should have the right to protest. And, I agree, if the protests get wild, then it should get broken up like what we saw with BLM and whatnot, right? But what worries me is that it leaves a large window open for this to be abused, okay? And like, for example, Trump, okay? He is the self-proclaimed father of the thing that they want you to get, okay? Brags about it all the time, and people are, oh, he knows better now. No, he doesn't. It's part of the plan. Just in March 2024, he was bragging about that thing and how he got it in 9 months and how they're going to start having those things for all sorts of things, including cancer now. Take a look. There you go. That was posted on his Truth Social account. And this was this year, so don't give me that baloney that he knows better now, this, that. No. He is the father of the thing they want you to get. He's very proud of it, brags about it to this day. And further so, he got J.D. Vance to be his running mate. And J.D. Vance is involved in funding a company called Amplify Bio, who manufactures and produces gene editing mRNA things that they want you to get. Take a look. And now we see all these things happening. They're talking about mpox and bird flu and all that. There's another planned event coming 2025, right in time for Trumpski, the father of the thing they want you to get. Operation Warp Speed, my friends. He locked you down before. He will lock you down again. And this time, it will probably be a lot worse as well. And so people might want to protest that, just like how we did in Canada. We protested all those things. Well, guess what? If these measures are passed, military is going to come in, break up your protests, and probably throw you in jail for protesting stuff such as that. That is what worries me, okay? But now we move on to the mass deportation of immigrants, an incarnation in camps, it's stated in that book there. Well, that's really getting worrisome. Don't get me wrong. Illegal immigrants who do not deserve to be here, stuff like that, I could understand that. Okay, that's not the worrisome part. But if it's just any immigrant, which I know right now they're not saying that's the case, but then camps, then you think of concentration camps, that's a little bit worrisome. And my worry is that it's going to start off with the illegals who are criminals and stuff, which, yes, they should be deported. I'm not disagreeing with that. But I'm worried eventually it's going to turn into something more. And then, as you can see on the list, ban Muslims from entering the country as well, implied from speeches. Well, my friends, it's a slippery slope. And what it comes down to is we see what was going on in the UK. And like I said, there's a plan to bring that here, and it'll probably be brought here by a manufactured inside job crisis. But the tensions have been building for that to happen, and I believe we're going to see some escalations with Iran and Israel. And whenever that happens, I believe whatever happens is going to be so severe, these sleeper cells are going to be activated, and Trump himself, they just put out on his Facebook, part of his plan and all that there's going to be mass deportations. And of course, when he starts doing that, trying to round up all these people who are, from different cultures, they're going to be pissed off about that. And they're going to start doing attacks. And maybe the attacks will start off being inside jobs by the government itself. Like I said, that's usually how it starts. Like I said, this is all part of a planned agenda. And I could see this spiraling out of control. And what it comes down to is history repeats itself. And it's very interesting because, the guy with the funny mustache back there in Germany back in the day, I see similarities between him and Trumpsky. And I know, the mainstream media has said this a million times. Even J.D. Vance, Trump's new vice president, even compared him to the man with the funny mustache back then. And, they are telling you right in your face. I know a lot of people, he's not like that. And of course, right now, he hasn't been like that. But they're following a script that's been given to them by the NWO, and they have to tell you the truth in your face. And if you accept it, well, then you accept it. Well, what are the similarities? Well, the man with the funny mustache, when he came into power back there in Germany all those years ago, he did great things in the beginning. He made Germany strong. He did a lot of the things that Trump and Project 2025 is talking about, and it made Germany strong. People loved him. He was the savior of Germany. Of course, we know how the story ends. We know what it morphed into. And yes, I understand there's a lot of false history about that event as well, but there is undeniable facts and evidence to show that the man with the funny mustache was still connected to the NWO, and he played a massive role, and horrible things did happen. Even if there has been some lies about some of the history, there was still horrible things that happened, okay? And I do not endorse him or promote him at all. I know a lot of people in the truth community has fallen into wanting to promote that. I do not, based on my research. So, camps, stuff like that, putting people in camps, I don't know. Could it be that Trump did some great things, got everybody to support him, and then when he comes back, 2025, it might start off good. He's going to bring peace, end some wars and all that, but eventually it may turn into that situation, except for it'll be the Islamic community. And it's pretty much to bring such chaos and such horrible things in America that eventually they're going to realize that religion is the root of all the problems here, okay? Because we got all three Abrahamic religions going at it together. And what's the end goal of the NWO? It's to have a one world religion. Well, I've heard from multiple people now that they saw a clip of Trump talking about a one world religion. I haven't been able to find that clip, but I've heard from 3 people saying that they saw it. So I don't know if you guys have seen it, but I could not find it myself. But I was able to find a clip of, I believe, General Flynn, who was part of the Trump administration, of course, before, and he'll probably be part of this one too. And he's calling for a one world religion. Let's take a look.
And they're talking about the United States of America. Talking about the United States of America, because when Matthew mentioned it in the Bible, he wasn't talking about the physical ground that he was on. He was talking about something in the distance. So if we are going to have one nation under God, which we must, we have to have one religion, one nation under God and one religion under God, right? All of us together, working together.
There you go. They want one religion, and I think what's going to end up happening, whether it's Trump or maybe it'll be his son Barron, who knows? But eventually, they're going to want to say, you know what, religion is the problem. I think there'll be intervention from Project Bluebeam on this as well. and they're going to say, look, all religions have truth in it, and you guys all got to morph into one to create this one world religion, and then we'll have peace on earth, and pretty much it'll be for people to accept an NWO, which of course is going to be the end of humanity, pretty much. It's going to be something that's passed off as a beautiful thing, but at the end of the day, it's just to seize power and control and have the whole world fully out worshipping the demiurge 4D astral AI. Okay? And being enslaved. And of course, one world government, all of that. Digital IDs, everybody hooked up to AI. It's not going to be good. So that's where I see all of this going. And, you know, that, like I said, that's why we see all these events taking place in the United States right now with Project 2025 and its relation to the things happening in the UK and stuff going on in the Middle East. It's all festering up for the big holy war, and with the holy war comes order out of chaos, and ultimately it leads to control of the humankind. We've had things pretty nice in our lives, haven't we, my friends, so far, compared to what's happened in the past. And that's been a rare time for humanity, because humanity has been in some horrible situations, way worse than what we've experienced. We've had the luxury of being comfortable and having some freedom. And, you know, a lot of people hate the liberals and the left, and I make it clear I'm not political, I'm not liberal or nothing like that. But a lot of these liberal freedoms that we've had, we maybe have taken for granted, and people want to go back to the conservative right. And, you know, I think there's got to be a balance right in the middle between the two. But people are soon going to see, they're going to lose a lot of those freedoms that they once had. And be careful what you wish for, because I'm telling you, in the Dark Ages, in the medieval times, Christian rule was pretty horrible. And if it goes back to how that was, which a lot of Project 2025 and the Heritage Foundation, which is funded by NWO, if they get their way, and people don't say no to this, and they blindly follow along and worshiping Trump and worshiping their false religions and the demiurge, pretty much, history might repeat itself, and that's the worst case scenario. People need to wake up, remember who they are, which is spirit. You guys are divine, sovereign beings, okay? Stop supporting government. Stop supporting NWO religion. Stop worshiping the demiurge and stand into your sovereignty. That's when things will change. We will no longer be slaves. We will no longer support this system, and the house of cards will come crashing down, and the powers that be will lose their power and control. But as long as you support the government, as long as you worship these NWO gods and their religions, you will remain enslaved and stuck in this simulation of suffering. That's how it is. Choice is up to you now. I'm just bringing you the information. That's it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, like I said, subscribe. As I say, subscribe to survive. Smash the like button. And yeah, if you enjoy my content, I am on Patreon. So I'll leave a link to Patreon down below in the comment section below. Or in the description box below. I got the occult class, Ascent 5D class, health class, and much more. Or if you'd like to simply buy Lionel a coffee for his efforts, I'm on the website Buy Me a Coffee. Link to that will be down below as well. And of course, I will send you free Patreon videos to your email as a thank you. But what means the most, Lionel, is hearing your feedback. So please leave a comment. Let me know what you thought. And that's it. Until next time, I hope you guys have a great one. Lionel signing off. Best wishes.